Deck 1 of the Superior Court is now in session. Judge Lewis presiding. Please be seated.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Calling the case of the people of the state of California versus Zach. Are both sides ready?
Ready for the people, Your Honor.
Ready for the defense, Your Honor.
Will the clerk please swear in the jury?
Will the jury please stand and raise your right hand? Do each of you swear that you will fairly try this case before this court and return to a true verdict according to the evidence and the instructions of this court, so help you God? Please say, I do.
I do.
You may be seated.
Your Honor, and ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the defendant has been charged with the crime of driving or taking the car belonging to someone else without the permission of the owner. The evidence will show that a 2016 Phantom Rolls-Royce was stolen on the night of February 8th. The next day, the defendant was arrested driving the car. The defendant's fingerprints were also found on the keys of the car. The evidence that I present to you will prove that the defendant is guilty as charged. Thank you.
Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, under the law, my client is presumed innocent until proven guilty. During this trial, you will hear no real evidence against my client. You will come to know the truth that Zach was just riding in a car stolen by someone else. Though when the defendant knew that the car was stolen, he intended to only do the right thing by returning the car to its proper owner. Therefore, my client is not guilty.
The prosecution may call its first witness.
The people call the owner of the car.
Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you promise that the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your first and last name.
Tristan Revelero.
You may be seated.
Please spell your last name for the record. T-R-I-P-I-S-T-E-O.
Tristan, where do you work?
I work at Revelero Car Sales.
What is the address of your business?
102 Main Street, Martinez.
Were you working there in the afternoon of February 8th?
Yes, I was.
Was one of your sales a white 2016 Phantom Rolls-Royce license 5CBX239?
Yes.
Did you see the car in the lot on February 8th?
Yes. Was there when we closed that night.
Did you see it again on February 9th?
No, it was missing when I got to work.
Where were the keys to your Rolls-Royce before you left on February 8th?
It was locked. It was locked at the sales office.
Where was it the next morning?
It was still locked at the sales office.
Did you file a stolen car report to the police?
Yes, I did.
Have you given anyone the permission to drive the Rolls-Royce?
No, I did not.
Thank you. No further questions.
Does the defense have any questions?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
The witness is excused. The prosecution may call the next witness.
The people call the arresting officer.
Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you promise that the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your first and last name.
Geoffrey Esdero.
You may be seated.
Please spell your last name for the record. E-S-I-D-E-R-A.
Officer, where do you work?
I have worked for the California Highway Patrol for the past 10 years.
Were you on duty on the afternoon of February 8th?
Yes, I was patrolling the freeway between San Ramon and Martinez.
Did you observe a 2016 Phantom Rolls-Royce that afternoon?
Yes, I did.
What was the license number?
5CB X239.
Why did you notice the car?
It fit the description of a car which was in our list of stolen vehicles.
Where did you first notice it?
Going north, near the exit to Highway 4.
When you noticed it, what did you do?
I turned on my lights and siren and pulled him over.
After the car stopped, what did you do?
I ordered him to step out and I arrested him.
Do you see the driver here in the court?
The record will show that the witness has identified the defendant sitting at the defense table.
After you arrested the defendant, did you search the car?
Yes, I did.
What did you find?
I found a set of keys in the ignition.
Were these the keys you found?
Yes.
Your Honor, I would like to have these keys marked as people exhibit number 1 and that they be admitted into evidence.
Does the defense have any objection?
No, Your Honor.
The keys will be admitted as People's Exhibit number 1.
Officer, do you find anything unusual with these keys?
Yes. Based on my experience, these keys are shaved master keys.
Can you please tell the jury what shaved master keys are?
These keys are filed down so that they could start any type of model of a type of car that are used to steal cars.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Does the defense wish to ask any questions?
Yes, Your Honor. Officer, when you pulled the car over, you told my client to turn off the ignition, didn't you?
Yes.
So you saw the defendant touch the keys.
Yes, I did.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
The witness is excused. Does the prosecution have any other witnesses?
Please, Your Honor. The people call the fingerprint examiner.
Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you promise that the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Please state your last name.
Daniel Samaran.
You may be seated.
Please spell your last name for the record.
Solferano.
Daniel, where do you work?
I am employed by the Contra Costa County Sheriff's Department. I have been a qualified examiner for 10 years.
Have you ever seen these keys before?
Yes, I was asked to check them for fingerprints on them.
Did you find any fingerprints as a result of your test?
Yes, there were several clear print impressions.
Were you able to identify the the defendant's fingerprints on the keys?
Yes, the prints I found on top keys were identical to the fingerprints taken from the defendant.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
Does the defense have any questions?
Yes, Your Honor. Daniel, as a matter of fact, you also found fingerprints which did not belong to the defendant, didn't you?
That's correct.
To whom do they belong?
I don't know.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
The witness is excused.
Your Honor, the people rest their case.
Is the defense ready with its case?
Yes, Your Honor. I call the defendant.
Please stand and raise your right hand. Do you promise that the testimony you shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please state your first and last name.
Zach Mamonday.
You may be seated.
Please spell your last name for the record.
Mangondaya.
Zach, where were you on the afternoon of the February 9th?
I was at 7-Eleven store on South Main Street at Walnut Creek.
Did you see a 2016 Phantom Rolls Royce in that location?
Yes, a guy was driving it and he pulled over in a parking lot.
Did you talk to the driver?
Yes, I asked him how fast it was.
What did he say?
he said I'd go in the car and he would show me.
What did you do then?
I got in the car and he drove onto the freeway going south towards Danville. He was driving really fast.
Do you know the driver's first last name, right? Name.
Yes, he told me his name was Rick.
What was his last name?
He never told me.
Have you ever met him before?
No.
Did he tell you where he got the car?
Yes, he said he had stolen the car.
When did he tell you that?
When we were on the freeway, heading towards San Ramon.
How far did you ride with him?
We reached San Ramon and he didn't stop till then.
What did you do then?
He told me that he would get off the car and I would have it.
Where did you drive?
I started to drive back to Martinez.
Do these keys belong to you?
No.
Have you ever seen them before?
Yes, they were in the Rolls Royce.
Did you touch the keys?
Yes, when the officer pulled me over, I had to turn off the car.
Thank you, Zach. I have no further questions. No other witnesses, Your Honor.
Does the prosecution have any questions?
Yes, Your Honor. Zach, what did this Rick look like?
I don't remember, but he had dark hair.
What kind of clothes was he wearing?
He was wearing jeans and a t-shirt.
So you just got into a car with someone else that you haven't even met before?
Yes, I have never gotten into a Rolls Royce 2016 Phantom before.
Did it occur to you at any time to call the police?
Sure, but there was no phone on where we stopped, and I didn't have a cell phone with me. So as I drove, I just kept on going.
But you knew that the car was stolen at the time you were driving it, didn't you?
Yes.
Thank you. I have no further questions.
The witness is excused. Does the defense rest?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I am now going to read to you the law that you must follow inside this case. To prove the crime charged against the defendant, the prosecution must prove three things to you. First, that the defendant drove or took a car belonging to someone else. Second, that the owner did not give the defendant permission to drive or take the car. And third, that the defendant intended to take away the owner's right to have the car, either permanently or temporarily. If each of you believes that the prosecution proved all three of these evidences in a reasonable doubt, then you must find the defendant guilty. But if you do not believe that the prosecution did not prove any one of these things beyond a reasonable doubt, then you must find the defendant not guilty. Proof beyond a reasonable doubt does not mean beyond all possible doubt. It means that you must consider all of the evidences and you are very sure that the charge is true. Are you ready with final arguments?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Your Honor, and ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the judge has told us that we must prove three things. There's absolutely no question for the first two things that we must prove. First, the defendant was arrested driving the car belonging to the owner of Trivileo Car Sales. Second, the owner testified that no one, including the defendant, had the permission to drive the car. Therefore, all we have to prove is that the defendant drove and intended to keep the car away from the owner for a little while. The defendant admitted that he wanted to drive the Rolls Royce because it was fast. He even said that he thought about calling the police, but he didn't even walk to a telephone instead of driving the car and didn't even stop between San Ramon and Martinez. This has proved that the defendant wanted to drive a car for a little while and wanted to keep it away from the owner for the one too. According to what the judge has said, this is all what we have to prove. Thank you.
Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, Zach was unlucky to get into the car with a man who had stolen that car. He got into the car because he had never been in a Rolls Royce before. My client's fingerprints were found on the keys because he had to touch them when the officer pulled the car over. But the prosecution's own expert also told you that there are other fingerprints in the keys which did not belong to the defendant. I suggest to you that the real thief is on those fingerprints. Rick. Zach is an honest person and was only trying to return the car to his owner. If he had meant to keep the car, why would he return it to his rightful owner? Remember that under the law, my client is presumed innocent until presumed innocent. The prosecution must prove every part, and proof beyond reasonable doubt does not mean beyond all. If it's case beyond reasonable doubt, that means that you must be very sure. One of the things they must prove is that my client intended to keep the car from the owner. My client is the only person who knows what he intended and testified under oath that he wasn't trying to keep the car from the owner, but was trying to return it. The prosecution has presented no real evidence to show you that this is not true. That means that there is a reasonable doubt and therefore you must find my client not guilty.
Will the jury for person please stand? Has the jury reached a unanimous verdict?
The jury find the defendant guilty.
The jury is thanked and excused. Court is adjourned.